starting points for the Saints. Back to Super Bowl form. Their offense has taken off during this 3-game win streak. Reggie Bush is back, and a new focus for this Dallas team that Jason Garrett brought with him when he was elevated to interim head coach. Vila will kick it away. 7 touchbacks this season, with Courtney Roby waiting deep. And we're glad you're with us. That's touchback number 8. And so now this offense, Troy, and I don't know of a better head coach quarterback combination around the NFL than Sean Payton and Drew Brees.
Well, they've worked well together now here for quite a few years, and you see the offensive line. This is a group that has not missed a start all season long, and the fact that they have begun to play a lot better than they were earlier in the year, it explains why this offense has started playing just as well here over the last 3 games.
The NFC South is led by Atlanta at 8-2. They host Green Bay this Sunday. Then New Orleans at 7-3. Brees fires and completes it. That's Jimmy Graham. And a young tight end, 23 years old, a 4-year basketball player at Miami. Played football, Troy, just 1 year, and Sean Payton raves about how good this kid can be.
Well, he has gotten more and more involved each of the last 4 to 5 ball games. In fact, coming off a season-high 5 receptions last week. First play of the game, he gets another one.
Jeremy Shockey out with a rib injury as Brees tries to find someone and does. Pass is caught by Henderson, good for 12. 2 throws, 2 first downs against this Dallas defense, which comes in ranked 22nd in the NFL. And you talked about getting pressure, and a lot of that has to do with this group, including DeMarcus Ware, who won our Thanksgiving award back in 08.
I think that's going to be the key, that defensive front, whether it's DeMarcus Ware, Anthony Spencer, Jay Ratliff. You look at the game last year between these 2 teams when the Cowboys won in New Orleans. It was because they were able to get pressure on Drew Brees without having to blitz.
4 men on the rush. Penalty flag comes in. The pass is caught by Lance Moore. Now they say it's skipped in. So the pass incomplete, and here's the call.
Holding, offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
That's Stinchcomb.
Yeah, that's the right tackle, John Stinchcomb. You see him right here, number 78. Yeah, I'd say that's a hold. And that's been one of the things that has hurt this offensive line throughout the season, Joe, is they have just had a number of penalties at untimely times during the ball game, this certainly not being one of them. But we already see a pattern right now with New Orleans. They feel that if they can get protection, they can take advantage of the matchups with this Dallas secondary. And so far, they've yet to have a running play.
That continues on 1st and 20 all day downfield. Henderson. Penalty flag and a catch anyway. "56 yards and a completion to Devery Henderson."
Well, you're going to see a double move on the outside by Devery Henderson, but in order for that to happen, you've got to have great protection up front. You see it off play action. They get Dallas overplaying it.
Defense, number 20. That penalty is declined.
Here's the route.
Of the play is a catch and a first down, New Orleans.
On the outside with Devery Henderson, he started as if he was going to go to the post, and then he straightens it back up, and he gets Allen Ball completely turned around. The Saints feel that they can definitely take advantage of the safety play for the Dallas Cowboys. One-on-one, Devery Henderson on Allen Ball. They get the pass interference.
They still haven't run the ball. Now they have an empty backfield as Reggie Bush goes in motion. Penalty flags fly. Pass incomplete for Marcus Colston. But it looked like the Cowboys came across early. Let's get the call from Boger. He's in his 7th season as an NFL referee.
Offside, defense, number 94. Passes this to the goal, replay, first down.
You go back and take a look at this route. And that's where he goes to the post, and he got Alan Ball turned around because that's where he thought he was going. You get the pass interference, but one great catch by Devery Henderson.
Henderson's always been a big play guy in his career, averaging over 18.5 yards per catch. Here's the first run, and it's carried by Ivory. Touchdown. And the rookie Chris Ivory, who got his first rushing touchdown last week, gets the first points of the day.
Blocked down there by right guard Jari Evans, and then they've got Carl Nix, the left guard, coming around. And Chris Ivory, not many teams are going to stop him down around that goal line. A very tough, physical runner.
From Tiffin College and a college free agent. And he is now the workhorse for New Orleans. But how about that catch by Devery Henderson? 57 yards officially. That set it up. Ivory pounded it in. 7-0 New Orleans.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Well, I think they have something to talk about on the Dallas Cowboys sideline. Man, hello, happy Thanksgiving, Dallas. 4 plays, 80 yards, and right down your throat. Saints came out firing. Now McCann on the return. The rookie from SMU gets hit, knocked down at the 24. Let's take a break. Here comes the Cowboys offense. There went the Saints offense. Devery Henderson getting congratulations and confusion on that Cowboys sideline.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
It's Dave Campo, who runs the secondary for the Dallas Cowboys. Orlando Scandrick wants to look at the pictures. Not a good start for the Dallas defense. Great start for New Orleans. And here's Marion Barber dancing around. He doesn't get anything. Gets a yard maybe. Roman Harper first one in there. And here's John Kitna, who's a quarterback now making his 5th start in place of the injured Tony Romo, protected by this group. And they have shown some holes and some age here in 2010 up front.
Well, they sure have, Joe, and I think that's an area that this Cowboys organization is going to have to address in the draft this coming April.
2nd down and 9. Play action from Kitna, who's in trouble and now will advance it a couple of yards. That's it. Kitna, who had a 29-yard touchdown run last week. And a win here at home. First Cowboy home win on the season over Detroit. And it's Kitna in the offense taking on this defense for New Orleans, which comes in ranked 4th overall in the NFL.
Talk about improved from where they were a year ago. Last year relying on takeaways. This year they just played good, solid defense, particularly on this down right here. 8th in the NFL, stopping teams on 3rd down.
Kitna throws. Pass is caught by Hurd, and he will pick up a first. Forced out by Shanley after he went around Tracy Porter. 12 yards for Sam Hurd, his longest catch of the season.
Yeah, you know, New Orleans gets exactly what they want. They get Dallas to throw the ball in the flat short of the 1st down. Tracy Porter's in great position then to make the play. He just fails to make an open field tackle against Sam Hurd.
It's the 7th catch of the season for Hurd. Got 9 yards after the catch. On 1st down, here is Felix Jones. Felix Jones takes it to the 40, a gain of 1. When we talked to Greg Williams, who's the defensive coordinator for the Saints, and asked him if he had noticed anything different with Dallas, he said, well, they're obviously trying to run the ball more. The numbers support it. They average 29 carries a game as opposed to 21 rushes a game over the first 8. When Wade Phillips was fired after a 1-7 start. Ton of Saints fans in the crowd. They make noise, and this one intercepted by Will Smith. Then he lost the football on the way to the ground, and the Saints are on top of it. looking for Des Bryant, and Will Smith made the play.
They tried a wide receiver screen, and Kitna is going to fake it to his front side and then come back and really kind of blind make this throw. Will Smith stops, and then he just goes right up because Kitna wasn't looking that way the entire time. He didn't get a good feel for where Will Smith was in relation to having to try to make this throw. So just pretty good job there by Will Smith, recognizing that he wasn't going to be able to get there before the ball came out. Now he had no idea that Kitna was going to come back in his direction. Nice way to start this game for that defense.
And then it was Tracy Porter who got on top of the fumble by Will Smith after the interception. And the Saints offense right back on the field, up 7-zip. Here is Ivory. And he stumbles forward for 4 yards.
Yeah, and you think about this game right now, already Dallas down 7-0, and then with New Orleans having great field position. And you know, to go back to the New Orleans defense, they are playing so much better than they were a year ago. Last year relying on pressure on the quarterback takeaways. This year their pass defense is second in the NFL. And Dallas can't afford to get down and turn this into a passing game. They'll get run out of the stadium.
That was just the 7th interception by the Saints defensively. First for Will Smith. On second down. Time runs out. Breeze goes down. DeMarcus Ware, a loss of 12.
DeMarcus Ware, I don't know if it was a bull rush or just hits him with his right arm here coming through and just chunks him. And John Stinchcomb gets off balance, and he's got a straight shot to Drew Brees. And that's the kind of pressure that Dallas has to be able to get. You think back to last year's game, DeMarcus Ware, there was questions as to whether or not he was going to be able to play in that game last December. He did. 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He was the difference in that win.
3rd down and 18. Julius Jones, former Cowboy, on a screen, forced out at the 31 by Stephen Bowen, a gain of 7. It'll be 4th down, and the kicking unit will come on for the Saints, and that has been shaky. They've had a change at long snapper 2 weeks in a row. Jason Kyle out with a bad shoulder on IR. Jake Ingram was signed. He's gone. And now with Justin Drescher added, all 3, center, holder, kicker, attended South Lake Carroll High School.
Todd Dodge was the head coach of that team, and Sean Payton said he might have him here at the game today.
That's right, here in Dallas. This one bends its way in. A 50-yard field goal. By far longest of the year for Garrett Hartley, who sneaks it through. 10-0 New Orleans.
Today's game is sponsored by Ram 1500. Crown the truck of Texas by the Texas Auto Writers Association. By UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. And by American Express. On November 27th, shop small on Small Business Saturday.
Hi, I'm Raquel Smith, and this is my husband, Will Smith, and this is my lovely family, Winter Smith and Lisa Smith, and we just want to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving.
Beautiful family, and let that be a lesson. Fox Sports comes calling, do a little Thanksgiving greeting, and you end up with an interception as Will Smith turned in the first Cowboy possession. It's 10-0 Saints. Garrett Hartley, that was the long of his career. Only his 2nd attempt of a field goal of 50 or more yards. 50 on the nose, and now Hartley comes awful close to putting it out of bounds, and instead it stays in bounds. Goes through the end zone, and instead of starting at the 40, they'll start at the 20, thanks to a good bounce for the New Orleans Saints.
Well, I could understand trying to keep it out of Brian McCann's hands. I mean, you think back to the last 2 weeks for him, the interception return 2 weeks ago against the Giants that essentially won that game for him, and then last week he had the punt return for a touchdown, and teams just simply don't lose when they get those types of returns for touchdowns.
101 at the Giants on the interception, and the 97-yard punt return last week. Kitna has time, throws high for Roy Williams. It is a great Sunday of football this weekend on Fox. It's a doubleheader. Packers and Falcons early. They're the other matchups: Vikings, Redskins, Panthers, Browns, and then America's game of the week: the Eagles at the Bears. How about the Buccaneers at the Ravens, or even the Rams at the Broncos? And the Rams are alive in the NFC West.
And we'll be like all those other NFL fans on Sunday, just sitting there from 11 o'clock Central Time throughout the rest of the day, huh?
Taking it all in on 2nd down and 10, a delayed handoff. And this one is to Felix Jones, a gain of 4. You look at the NFC South, and I've already said that Atlanta's in front, 8-2. Then New Orleans 7-3. Tampa Bay is 7-3. And Josh Freeman, the young quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, seems to get better by the week, coming off a 21-0 win in San Francisco. Good division in the NFC South. Here's a 3rd down for Dallas, 3rd and 6. Des Bryant, the rookie, and this one is snapped right past Kitna. Wasn't even looking for it. And so another Cowboys mistake, something they've avoided these last 2 weeks, and a loss of 17.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen a center in football ever just snap the ball at his discretion as much as Andre Gerard does. It seems like every time we do a Cowboys game, the ball is being snapped in the shotgun formation to a quarterback, whether it's Tony Romo or John Kitna, when he's not asking for it to be snapped.
And so Gerard will explain himself. A loss of 17 and a punt from McBriar is having a good year. Whistle stop play before the snap.
First charge, timeout, New Orleans.
New Orleans wants to take a timeout. So it's already 10-0 Saints, and they're about to get it back. Well, Andre Gerard has done a lot of head shaking over there on the bench. He's been to 4 straight Pro Bowls, but he just snapped one. Kitna wasn't ready for it, so whatever the cause was for the miscommunication forces this punt from the end zone from McBriar. Line drive punt. Takes a bounce, and in the end, an effective punt by Matt McBriar. No return by Moore, 52 yards. It's already 10-0.
Yeah,
Mr. Aikman. And so I'll ask you, as the New Orleans Saints offense comes back on the field, what do you think?
well, I don't think the Dallas offense is doing much to help out their defense. I think when you look at what Dallas defensively was able to do in holding the Saints to a field goal on that last possession to keep it at 10 points was a pretty good job on their part. And then the Andre Gerard snap. And yeah, I think Andre was on the sideline still wondering, you know, what exactly happened or what he did wrong.
Here's a handoff to Julius Jones. He won the old Galloping Gobbler back in 2004. I think that was the Dallas-Chicago game, which was one of the worst games we've ever had to watch. I mean, this is the greatest job in the world, but that game, nothing was happening. And Julius Jones, there it is, 2004. Who will win it today? Drew Brees. Devery Henderson off to a good start in that category. 2nd down and 5. Will Smith as well with an interception. Here's Ivory, and he's to the Saints 49, just shy of midfield. 3rd down coming up after a gain of 3.
You know, this running back situation for New Orleans is pretty interesting. It's been a running back by committee position really for the last couple of years because of injury. This year, Chris Ivory has had to carry the bulk of the load. And you know, I talked earlier, he is a physical guy, and they say that he can hardly get through a game healthy, not because he's not very tough, but because he's too tough. I mean, he'll run into collisions and basically knock himself out of commission.
3rd down and a couple, and here is Julius Jones. 1st down Saints. So they did it through the air the first time they had it. Now they're on the ground a little more, and for Jones, a gain of 6 and a 1st down.
And Julius Jones has been a good addition for this club. He joined the team in mid-October, and he's a versatile player, and he's good in that situation because he's a pretty good receiver. He's an adequate blocker in pass protection, and then he's also able to run the football. So you're able to do a lot of different things when he's in the lineup. Contrary to Chris Ivory, who, when he's in the lineup, they're not going to throw him the ball, and he's not going to be asked to pass protect often.
Spencer coming off the edge, doesn't get there. The pass is caught by Colston. Throw is behind him, and Marcus Colston, who's been hot, averaging 8 catches a game over the last 4, is good for 16.
Well, they keep the tight end Dave Thomas in on the backside to help chip on DeMarcus Ware, and it gives Breeze a nice pocket. And you know, not a great thrown ball. It's a ball behind Marcus Colston, but he makes an excellent catch. And that's the one thing that I've always marveled at with these New Orleans Saints receivers, is how good they are at adjusting to the ball when it's in the air. Now, Marcus Colston, as well as Devery Henderson, have had some problems in midseason hanging onto the ball, but they seem to have gotten through that here in recent games.
Breeze has not thrown an incompletion. It's first down for the Saints. Ball at the 28. And this one down the middle. The pass is caught by Henderson for the touchdown. They're saying he was not touched on the sliding catch. And as it is right now, it's touchdown number 2 for Henderson. Well, he's all over him, and I think if they look at that again, the knee is going up the back of Devery Henderson as he goes to the ground, and Jason Garrett throws the challenge flag. And here's that arm that was so good for the Dallas Cowboys on that Thanksgiving Day back in 1994, when he rallied the Cowboys to a comeback win on Thanksgiving.
You know, Joe, I agree with you. I didn't see definitive contact, but it sure looked like there was, and I don't know how there couldn't be right there. He's all over him.
I mean, he's down, arm is down, body's down.
Is charged in the road on the field of a completed catch for a touchdown.
So there are 2 questions. A, was the ball cleanly caught? And B, was he touched while he was down, therefore no touchdown? We'll get the call when we come back. Well, is it the 2nd touchdown of the year for Devery Henderson, or is it down by contact?
After reviewing the play, the runner is down at the 6-yard line. It is a completed catch, but he was down by contact at the 6-yard line. First down, New Orleans. Dallas does not charge a challenge nor a timeout.
There was a contact right there with the right arm of Terrence Newman, but that would appear to be an underthrown ball. I got to tell you, that was an outstanding throw by Drew Brees, because he saw Terrence Newman coming over the top. He really protected Devery Henderson by the throw, by making him go down to get it. And then a great adjustment as well on Henderson's part, but just good execution there by the Saints.
So as it is, it's a 22-yard catch. First and goal at the 6. And you just don't know, and it's what we talked about last year leading into the Super Bowl in that NFC Championship game and that 13-0 start, where it's coming from for the Saints. You focus on Colston, they'll get you with 3 other guys. You focus on the receivers, they'll kill you with a tight end. You focus on the tight end, they'll run it or throw it to Reggie Bush. And it's Drew Brees in the middle of all that, making it work. Here's Ivory. That's his 2nd of the day. And the Saints are making it look awfully easy here in Texas.
Good blocking up front. David Thomas, the tight end, again, he gets the kick out on the defensive end. And Jermon Bushrod, the left tackle, you're going to see him block out. And then the kick out here. And it just creates a nice lane for Chris Ivory to hit it, just going north and south.
We need to talk more about Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and what these Saints can do offensively, which we will as we go through the day. Oh, Chris Ivory enters the gobbler hunt. He's got 2 as Sean Payton celebrates.
Hi, I'm Master Sergeant Greg Watson from 379th Security Forces Squadron.
I'm Sergeant First Class Christopher Cardina from 343 88 Battalion, the Army.
And the Air Force would like to wish you
a happy Thanksgiving. Go Cowboys!
Thanksgiving greeting from Southwest Asia as we continue here in Arlington. There's the scoring drive. And the Saints, who came in rolling with a 3-game winning streak, are still cooking on offense, and they have dismantled the Cowboy defense. This one is driven to the corner of the end zone, and Garrett Hartley's had a nice day. Bryant takes a knee. 17-0, and the Dallas offense is back to the field, and Tony Romo, who's out with a broken left collarbone, is over there talking to the defense about what he sees, I'm sure, and Drew Brees is doing out on the field offensively, and he's talking to Ware.
Well, what he's talking to him about has something to do with the hard count. That's one of the things that I think the quarterbacks have improved on dramatically in the last 10 years. Is they work on it constantly throughout the week. They have a variety of different hard counts to keep these great pass rushers at bay.
Here's a pass caught by Miles Austin. Ball comes out. Saints on top of it. No ruling yet as to whether it was a catch and a fumble, and it is. Knocked out and then recovered by Jabari Greer, and let's take a look. His left elbow was down. Was it down prior to the ball being knocked out by Danny Clark? And Garrett's going to challenge another one. Here's the recovery by Jabari Greer, and Jason just likes throwing stuff on Thanksgiving.
Well, he's got such great form doing it.
Little crow hop and then a toss. Here's a crow hop.
This is
Dallas
football, not
is challenging the rule on the field of a fumble.
Pronate the wrist. Quit laughing. So it's a Dallas challenge. I think you can make a case. The left elbow is down. Well, Garrett is 2 for 2, by the way. And challenging calls, and now they're working on the right forearm of Miles Austin. Let's bring in Mike Pereira, who joins us, former head of officiating for the NFL and now part of the Fox team. What do you see, Mike?
I see a reversal here. Catch down by contact. Joe, happy Thanksgiving to both of you, by the way. I do not think this is going to the ground. He was hit by the defender after he'd completed the catch. So I think with the forearm being down, I think they'll go back to catch and down by contact right there. The left arm hits before the ball comes out.
I'm going to agree with Mike, Joe. I don't think he's been wrong all year. There's a reason why he held that job for so long.
Yeah, but I've only commented on the easy ones. I haven't commented on the tough ones.
Well, that's good on your part. That's smart.
It's called survival in this business. And happy Thanksgiving from us to you, Mike.
Yeah, great to be with you guys, and great to listen to you. And been a lot of fun being associated with Fox and being a part of this process this year for me.
You're going to be in this booth with us during Super Bowl 45, February 6th, are you not?
Yeah, they are. You're going to hide me in a corner, aren't you, and say, "Okay, step out from behind the curtain when something happens." But yeah, that's gonna be fun for me.
Here comes Jerome Boger with a call.
After reviewing the play, the run is down by contact at the 26-yard line. During the process on the run, his right forearm hit at that spot. Dallas has now won 2 replay challenges and will be awarded a 3rd replay challenge.
Well, Mike Pereira is batting 1,000, and there you go. It's 2nd and 4 at the 26, but maybe of bigger concern is they're taking Miles Austin into the dressing room and maybe to look a little more closely at the right arm, forearm, wrist, whatever it was.
Well, Jason Garrett gets another challenge because of the fact he got the first 2 challenges right. In my opinion, the league's got to even change it and go a step further, that as long as you're undefeated on challenges, you just keep getting them. I mean, there's no reason why Jason Garrett should not be able to challenge more calls beyond just the 3rd challenge, if in fact that happens, if he gets it right, to make up for the calls that are wrong by the officials.
Maybe we'll have old Mike weigh in on that. 2nd down for Dallas. Out of the backfield, it's Felix Jones, makes the catch, and he's forced out well short of 1st down yardage. And it'll be 3rd down for John Kitna, 38-year-old quarterback. They're going to say that when Felix Jones went out, he was forced out at the line of scrimmage, so 3rd and 4.
Well, and John Kitna, in visiting with him, Joe, he's not new at playing in these Thanksgiving games. The time he spent there in Detroit, he likes playing on Thursday because, as he said, it keeps the coaches from overanalyzing the game plan and putting too much in. You know, so far, I don't know that they put enough in for this one, the way this one looks so far.
Kidna said just go play. That's what he likes. And he's trailing 17-0. Now in trouble, finds his tight end Witten, who takes a seat with a first down. A gain of 6. Marvin Mitchell on the tackle for the Saints.
Well, it's a big first down for Dallas because, one, they've got to be able to sustain some drives before they get down any further, and then also they've got to give this defense an opportunity to get off the field and get some rest.
First down, Cowboys. 1-2 straight, 3 and 7 on the year. And on first down, Kidna. Time runs out. Now he'll run. First down carry by John Kidna. 38 doesn't bother him. He's run well last week in this, a 13-yard carry.
Well, here's what the Saints like to do. Is they're going to put safety in the middle, but he's going to roll over the top here, so he's actually doubling the outside receivers. But initially to John Kidna, it looks like he's going to get single on the outside. There's just nowhere for him to go with the football. The times when he's had protection, there's been nowhere for him to throw it, and so now he's having to scramble and just get whatever yardage he can running the ball.
Not exactly Michael Vick, but it is something that he has done and done well the last couple of weeks. Here's Felix Jones, and Felix carries it for 3.
I know that Greg Williams, defensive coordinator for the Saints, he trained under Buddy Ryan, and they like to give a lot of different looks. They love to get after the quarterback and put pressure on him, and John Kidna has some experience playing against his defenses, and he said the key is not to get overwhelmed early. Just understand that there's going to be some new looks, there's going to be some confusion, but hang in there and know that something's going to break open at some point.
It better break open here soon for Dallas, the way the Saints are able to move the football when they have it. 2nd and 7. Looked like a false start. Cowboys got away with it, and here's a carry by Felix Jones for 5. Sideline erupted a little bit as the left tackle flinched before the snap, but no call. And it'll be 3rd down and short for Jason Garrett's Cowboys. Princeton quarterback, 87-88, longtime backup in the NFL, longtime Troy Aikman backup. 6-3, stepping in as a starter when he was with the Cowboys. He's been the offensive coordinator here since 07.
Yeah, and even back when he was my backup, you just always knew he was going to go into coaching.
Play action from Kidna, pass to Witten for the first down. 17 yards, pretty well covered by Roman Harper.
It's good coverage by Roman Harper, like you said, Joe, and then John Kidna had a free rusher right in his face at the last minute. He hung in there tough and delivered an absolute strike. I mean, that ball had to be thrown perfectly. Roman Harper was in great position, and he's having himself a heck of a year.
And now you can see Witten say, let's hurry up and snap it. Sean Payton has thrown the challenge flag to see if Witten got both feet down on the catch. Catch, 1-2.
New Orleans is challenging on the field of a completed catch.
1-2.
I see 2 feet as well, Joe. I mean, when he had possession of the ball, it looked like he had possession of the ball before his right foot came down, and then of course he got his left foot in prior to going out of bounds.
So Garrett's 2 for 2. This booth thinks that Sean Payton will be 0 for 1. But he throws the flag anyway, as it is a 17-yard completion for a first down. And a couple of 3rd down conversions to Witten on this drive.
They were talking about Jason Garrett. We got into it a little bit a couple games ago when we had him in his opener against the Giants, or his debut as head coach. And you know, even when he was my backup, he was preparing for the day that, one, he would be an offensive coordinator in the National Football League, and then he would take notes when Norv Turner would get up on day 1 and address the team and how he would do it. And he did it with Ernie Zampese, and he's got a stack of notebooks that have helped prepare him for this moment.
After reviewing the play, the rule on the field is confirmed. It is a completed catch. The receiver caught the ball and got 2 feet down before going out of bounds. New Orleans is charged a team timeout and a replay challenge.
So there you go. New Orleans has one timeout remaining in this half. We're 41 seconds left in the first quarter. The other part with Garrett is how do they finish, obviously, and is the fan base charged up? However you want to gauge that. For Jerry Jones to say, okay, he's the guy. I'm going to stay away from the big name coaches. Somebody else to come in here because there's so much on the line with tickets in this dome. And Jerry Jones is so far extended with the money he has laid out for this stadium. That's the question that I see going forward. I don't think there's any doubt between the two of us that Jason Garrett, whether it's here or somewhere else, will be a good head coach in the NFL.
Well, I think he will be as well. And hey, these are difficult circumstances. When you don't have an offseason to really implement the way you want to do things and to build the expectations within your ball club over several months, you have to do that on the fly. He's done a remarkable job already.
Here is an end around. Somehow that ball bounces right back into the arms of Des Bryant after the previous incompletion of Martellus Bennett, and the Dallas Cowboys are fortunate to avoid their second turnover of this first quarter.
Well, you see here Des Bryant, he's just not used to taking a handoff. I mean, this is a guy who's used to catching the ball in the air, and he's got big hands and he's good at doing it, but he's not a running back. He's never played running back. And it's hard sometimes for those receivers to get their hands and arms in the right position to get the exchange right.
We are through one. 17-0 New Orleans. Dallas on a little bit of a drive. Back after this from your local Fox station. 3rd down and 10 for the team trying to get back into this game. The Dallas Cowboys down 17-0 as we start the second quarter here in Arlington, Texas. 10th play of the drive. Three-man rush. Martellus Bennett makes the catch. And he will be marked out short of a first down. Jolan Dunbar made the play. And with a 4th and 1 coming up for a team that's 9 for 14 on 4th downs, and Troy 3 and 7, down by 17 points. They're going to go for it.
Yeah, they're going to go for it here. And I thought Martellus Bennett could have done a better job of trying to pick up that first down on that last reception. The Saints showed blitz. They bailed out. And Martellus Bennett, in my opinion, had a chance to go for it.
Barber in at tailback on 4th and 1, and he gets it on a toss. A leap. And he is knocked down short of a first down. Great play made by Dunbar. It was out there in front of Marion Barber and Jolan Dunbar. Swoops in to make the play, and it's turned over on downs by Dallas.
Today's game is sponsored by the Miller Lite Vortex bottle. Taste greatness. By Sprint, the Now Network. And by FedEx. We understand you need a winning game plan. FedEx.
It'll be the 4th possession for New Orleans. They've had a touchdown, a field goal, then another touchdown, lead 17-0. And on the road, they have demolished the opponents, outscoring them 82-9. Here's Ivory trying to find somewhere to go, doing all he can, and Ivory turns that into a 2-yard gain, and we go down to the field and check out that play. First on Bennett on 3rd down.
Well, you see where he had the ball, and he had time there to really go after that first down rather than head towards the sideline. I thought he could have done a better job there. Here you've got Roman Harper, the safety, who comes up and he takes out Mark Colombo, the right tackle, who's trying to lead the way. It was ultimately Dunbar who got there to make the tackle, but it was because of Roman Harper disrupting the timing and making Barber bounce it that he didn't make it.
Here's Julius Jones on 2nd down, knocked down by DeMarcus Ware. Olshansky was in there on the tackle as well, a gain of 4. And there's the frustration from Marion Barber, who came up a yard short on 4th down. Reggie Bush checks into the huddle. First game back since week 2. Broken right fibula out in San Francisco. A major weapon for the Saints. And they go to him and hits him in the helmet. Incomplete. 4th down. And Bush wasn't ready for it.
I think he saw Gerald Sensabaugh coming down on him, and he was hoping that Drew Brees wouldn't throw it to him. He turned, he just couldn't locate it. He got his head turned around expecting the ball, but he just couldn't locate the football. That's when you go back to Drew Brees and you say, hey, my bad, Reggie, I put it in a bad spot. Next time I'll try not to hit you in the helmet with it.
That is the first incompletion out of the right hand of Drew Brees. 3 and out after the turnover on downs. Morstead hits it. He's had a good year as well. Angled for the sideline, and it stays in play. Boy, the Saints have had some bounces on special teams. This punt by Morstead, 56 yards. Cowboys have it down 17 here at home. Let's take a look at the offensive leaders. There's Kidna, Felix Jones, Witten with 2 conversions on 3rd down with his catches. Miles Austin is back in the lineup for Dallas. He left and x-rays were negative on his right arm. Good run by Felix Jones. Took it out wide to the left. It depends on the spot as to whether it's a first down or not, but a good carry by Felix tonight on Fox. After Thanksgiving dinner, we've got a real treat. The network premiere of The Simpsons movie. Springfield's under attack. One hero can save the day. Good luck. Plus a special sneak peek of Fox's newest animated comedy, Bob's Burgers. It all starts tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central here on Fox. And now they're going to bring the chains out and measure and see if Felix Jones had enough for a first down. Let's see how good our little yellow line is. Looks like he's got it according to that. It's our unofficial look. And that thing is dead on. Huh? Nobody's sleeping in this crew on Thanksgiving. Well, I know the St. Louis Blues are in attendance here today. They won in a shootout last night in Nashville, and they play the Dallas Stars tomorrow night. A couple of the guys texted me. They want to know directions to your house for later on tonight, Troy, to see
our gathering, huh?
If they can join in on the fun.
Sure, why not?
There they are, right there in the middle. They're going to be tired.
They've been up all night.
They were. First down, Dallas. More from Felix Jones. Trying to get that running game going and trying to get some sort of a push from that offensive line. Felix Jones, after getting 10, gets 7 here.
Well, that's a pretty good start there on the last 2 runs by Felix Jones, because prior to that, Dallas really had not done much running the football. There's been a lot said about the last 2 weeks and how Dallas has committed more to running the ball. I don't know that that's necessarily true. I think the bigger thing is that they've played with leads late in games, and then they've been able to run the ball more in the 4th quarter. 11 of their 30 rushes last week came in the 4th quarter.
Here's more from Felix. Got a big hit, falls forward. And again, it depends on the spot. The other part of it is you got to play some kind of keep away and chew up some clock. It's a first down here for Dallas because you want to see Drew Brees standing on the sideline for the New Orleans Saints, trying to slow down that offensive attack, which came out firing today. Des Bryant has been shut out so far.
Yeah, Des Bryant, who has had a great rookie season. I know in talking with John Kitna, he says he's as talented a receiver as anyone he's been around, and he's been around some good ones, including Calvin Johnson in Detroit.
Rolling to his right, throwing across the middle. Bennett almost had it knocked loose and then takes it to the 46, a gain of 8. Danny Clark on the stop for the Saints.
You know, I talked about Martellus Bennett a little bit earlier, and I don't know what's happened with him, because a year ago, coming out of training camp, everyone really thought that it was going to be a breakout year for him. There were a lot of teams actually leading up to the trade deadline last year that wanted to get him because he's got so much ability, and the Cowboys stuck with him and believe he's got some real upside, but it just hasn't happened for him. Coming into this game, only 18 catches this year.
Quick throw, Roy Williams, and he will fight for another Dallas first down. Went around Tracy Porter and picked up 3.
I'll tell you, Dallas has had to fight and claw for every third down conversion or first down that they've gotten here today.
Talking to Greg Williams, here comes Bennett back in the lineup. Greg Williams is the defensive coordinator for Sean Payton, former head coach, and a guy who was with Jeff Fisher with the Houston Oilers when Fisher came in as an interim head coach. Now Fisher's in his 16th season with that franchise, and he appears locked in a battle with Vince Young in a war of wills for that franchise. Here's Barber, picks up 5.
Greg Williams is just one of those great defensive coordinators in the NFL. I mean, he does an excellent job of really changing the mindset. I mean, he would be the first to tell you it's not so much what he does in terms of X's and O's, although I think he's as good as anybody in what he does within his scheme. But he really holds his players to a high standard, and he is tough on them during the week. And these players, wherever he has been, whether it's been in Washington, Tennessee, now here in New Orleans, the guys have responded to him. They love playing for him.
It's 2nd down and 5, and a handoff to Felix Jones, trying to get to the edge, and what a good play made by Tracy Porter. There was something there, except Porter ended the play with a strong tackle. No gain.
Yeah, no, I think if you're going to play corner and for Greg Williams, then you better be a guy who's willing to come up and make these types of plays. Not easy to do. I mean, Felix Jones has got big play ability. We haven't seen as much of it this year as when he first came into the league. But tackling him in the open field, not an easy task. A nice play by Tracy Porter.
It's 3rd down and 6. Snap wasn't very good. Kidna throws, 1st down Dallas. Miles Austin is back, and he's to the New Orleans 40. Another wild snap from Gerard, and Kidna just got that away.
Yeah, he just does, because you get a free rusher here. Roman Harper, he comes in, and then Marion Barber has to decide who he's going to take. They brought Tracy Porter with it. Typically, as a back, you've got to take the most dangerous. That's generally the inside guy. He should have taken Roman Harper. It would have given Kidna a little bit more time, but Kidna's still able to get that one out.
John Kidna's loving this challenge. Taking over for Romo. Throws high for Roy Williams. And just to finish the point on Greg Williams, the good coaches in this league can make up for players' deficiencies. And when you talk about a guy like Roman Harper, he said, I want him near the line of scrimmage. He's not a guy to cover somebody downfield. Player is injured. That's Alex Brown. They look at him. We'll come back and continue after the break.
Cowboys fans, please.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet. Every model is backed by a 100,000-mile, 5-year powertrain limited warranty.
Hi, we are the Witten family. My name is Michelle, my husband Jason, son Cooper, and CJ. And we'd like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving from the Wittens. And happy Thanksgiving from all of us at Fox Sports to all of you as you gather with family and friends, hopefully on this Thursday, November 25th, 2010. 2nd down and 10. Another long drive by the Cowboys. Good catch by Felix Jones. Room to run down inside the 15. And it started with that good catch. And a good block from Roy Williams along the way. 28 yards, Felix Jones.
Well, John Kidna had to lay this one perfectly over the head there of Marvin Mitchell. And you're right, an excellent catch by Felix Jones. And then down the field, Roy Williams does a nice job right there that allows Felix Jones to get inside of that block. It's a nice drive right now that we're seeing from the Dallas Cowboys. It started on the 18-yard line, and they've methodically been able to move it down the field.
Inside the red zone, this is the 11th play of the drive. The last drive went for 11 plays, but came up empty, turning it over on 4th down. They faked the reverse, now set up a screen for Marion Barber, trying to outrun Shanley, and a minimal gain on 1st down.
Well, it should have gone for a loss. If Tracy Porter, who was in a great position to make the play, he had Marion Barber right there, and you don't see many moves like that from Marion Barber. That's pretty good.
Turned it into a 3-yard gain.
Well, right here on this end of the field, the Saints have been good in red zone defense. Last year they were excellent. They're excellent again this year.
Good drive being put together by Kedna. And now he loses the football. And this is really, and I know there's a new head coach, but this is what you saw even under Wade Phillips. A good drive, it's a killer penalty. A good drive, it's a missed snap. It's just little things along the way.
You know, Remy Adele, 92. You see where the ball just came right up to where it didn't look like John Kitna had a chance at it at all. Sometimes when a center has someone lined up over them, they sometimes shortchange it, but that didn't appear to be the case. You get real good in the red zone down here when you can't get a center exchange.
Here's a pass caught by Witten. And on 3rd down and 9, Witten picked up 8. Tracy Porter on the stop, and now a decision. Do you want points? And the answer is yes, as Beeler will come on instead of going for it again on 4th and 1.
Well, they'd gone for it before and didn't make it, and the last thing you can have happen after this drive, 13 plays that began on the 18-yard line. Yeah, you're frustrated you don't come away with a touchdown, but you've got to come away with something here. I think it's a good decision right here by Jason Garrett.
This is a chip shot. But nothing has been automatic for either kicker this season, Beeler or Hartley. 21-yard try, drilled through. First points of the day after that long drive. No touchdown, but 3 for Jason Garrett. 17-3 Saints. That has transpired to this point. 5:13 left in the half. The last two drives for Dallas, 25 plays, 138 yards, 12 minutes 50 seconds off the clock, but only 3 total points. And Beeler, who has 1 touchback, gets into this one. Roby will think about it and take it out. Roby on the return ran into a wall shy of the 20. Leon Williams downfield to make the stop. And we look at then and now. Defensive linemen for Dallas from 92 to 2000, about the same time frame for you. 27.5 sacks. Chad Hennings, before entering the NFL, 4 years in the Air Force during the first Gulf War. Now he's an author with his 2nd book out, a professional motivational speaker. He's also an executive VP for global development for a real estate company here in Dallas.
Yeah, he had to serve his 4-year commitment. We picked him up in 92, had drafted his rights when he came out of Air Force in 88 and worked himself into a really great player for us.
On 1st down, Breeze over the middle, pass is caught. That's Lance Moore. Gain of 6.
You know, Lance Moore is one of those guys. You talk about the weapons that Drew Brees has. Lance Moore 2 years ago, he led the team in receiving. Last year, only 14 receptions because he had injury that he was dealing with. And so, you know, right now, Marcus Colston is a guy that Drew Brees has been getting the ball to. But any one of these guys, Lance Moore, Robert Meacham, Devery Henderson, any one of them can show up big on any given week.
Boy, they are so tough to defense. Here's Bush, and Reggie Bush carries for 1. You look at the offensive leaders. Reggie Bush has not developed into the guy that's going to carry the load at running back for the Saints, but he is somebody that a defense has to account for. He is somebody that makes the other players around him better because of the threat that he poses at running back or when they split him out.
Well, expectations were high, you're right, and you know, he's a good player, and I'd love to have him on any one of the teams I played on. I don't know if he's going to get paid what he's being paid now on his next contract, but he's a versatile guy that can help the club.
They kept him around for $8 million. They like having that weapon. Here's a catch by Moore. His 2nd on this drive, 6 yards and a 1st down. And when you talk about the Saints, whether it's what you can do if you're Sean Payton with Reggie Bush, or these wide receivers who at times become almost completely interchangeable. And Moore's a little gimpy after that catch, so they'll look at him. The combination of Drew Brees, who runs this offense to perfection for Sean Payton, And now timeout is going to be called as one official goes to the referee, Jerome Boger, and wants to talk about something on the Saints sideline as he makes his way over there. Still looking at Lance Moore. I mean, you think about a guy like Bill Walsh, who took an undersized quarterback.
The rule on the field is that we have a completed catch at the sideline, first down, New Orleans.
I didn't know there was any question about the completed catch, but there's no challenge by the Dallas sideline. Let's take a look.
It looks like a catch to me. I mean,
the ball came out, but he was. They talk about going to the ground as part of the catch. That wasn't the case there for Lance Moore.
He referenced Drew Brees and Sean Payton. I mean, you think about the great quarterbacks in this league. They've had guys like Sean Payton, like Bill Walsh, like Norv Turner. I mean, those types of guys, those relationships between quarterback and play caller are huge. And that's why these quarterbacks are able to go out and perform at the levels that they do.
Play action from Brees, who comes to Colston, and he drops it. Perfect throw. Couldn't throw it any better, and Marcus Colston just dropped it.
Well, they bring in a little reinforcement on the left side for DeMarcus Ware. Zach Strief, 64, and looks like he might have gotten away with a little something there underneath the shoulder pad, but a perfectly thrown pass by Drew Brees, and I talked about it there earlier in the game with Marcus Colston and some of the drops that he had. There was another one.
It's second down and 10. There's the pressure on Drew Brees so far from Dallas. He's not been hit much. Here's a little flea flicker. Brees down the middle. Good coverage by Dallas, and nearly picked off by Alan Ball. And now Mike Jenkins and Alan Ball shout at each other, I think good-naturedly, but both had a shot at the interception, and neither one of them came away with it.
Well, these guys just can't catch. I mean, that's been proven over the last several years, the Dallas secondary, and that's why Drew Brees isn't afraid to throw that ball up. I mean, he likes to give his guys an opportunity, but Dallas just doesn't come down to with the ball often. They're not good at playing the ball in the air. Somebody should have caught that ball. They were all looking at it when it was coming to them.
Only 8 interceptions this season for the Dallas defense. It's third down and 10. Pressure on Brees, and down he goes. Now he flips it somehow underneath for a first down to Jones. I don't know how that ball came out of that pile, but Drew Brees just disappeared among the bigger bodies. Next thing you know, Julius Jones makes the grab and carries it for a first down, and now Skandrick is hurt.
Well, that's just having a pretty good idea of where all your people are. I mean, you're going to see him move up in the pocket. He runs into a wall, and then he flips it out at the last minute there.
Wow.
To Julius Jones. I mean, that's good stuff. I mean, when you're talking about trying to stay alive in the pocket and still having the awareness within the pocket of looking for somewhere to go with the ball. A nice play.
I started to reference, Troy, and maybe it's even more apropos watching Brees do that. I mean, he just disappeared with those bigger bodies. Here's the first down catch and run by Julius Jones. You think of a guy like Bill Walsh and a third-round pick, Joe Montana, who was considered undersized, and the quarterback became an extension of the coach on the field, running the offense, spreading the ball around. I mean, Joe Montana obviously developed into one of the greatest in the history of this game. Drew Brees, the numbers he's put up and the way he moves the ball around, the stats are just overwhelming with how he distributes the football. Is an extension of Sean Payton, and they can do so much together.
I mean, who would have imagined when he signed with the Saints that he would go on and do what he did? I mean, he had a nice career in San Diego. He had the one big season there. They decided that they were going to, go with Phillip Rivers. He gets picked up by the Saints, a veteran guy. You could see where Sean Payton wanted someone who could come in and run the offense, but I don't think anybody, even the most optimistic of people, could have imagined him playing the way that he did, especially considering he was coming off major shoulder surgery, and he's been phenomenal. I just don't know that there's anyone in the game that is as motivated as Drew Brees is to be great. And I don't think it's because he's got a chip on his shoulder. I really don't. I mean, he's short, and so everyone is always kind of thought, hey, this guy can't do it. I just think that he's motivated to be great. And it wouldn't matter if he's 6'5", you know, and he's a pleasure to watch, and what a great ambassador to the league and to the community of New Orleans.
Yeah, that's the other part. He has really fit in there as Julius Jones carries it and plows ahead for 3. And that could take us to the 2-minute warning. In a 17-3 game as the Saints came out firing, up 17-0. Now it's a 14-point game here in Arlington. 2 minutes left, first half on Thanksgiving. Visa halftime is coming up. We're at the 2-minute warning. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy will talk about what's transpired here in the first half. Keith Urban will be here in this stadium at Arlington to perform. More live from Southwest Asia. Military base there. It's 2nd down and 7 for the Saints. Quick setup and throw, pass caught, and a stretch for the first down by Henderson. Depends on the spot. They're going to mark him short. 3rd down and a yard coming up. That is Charlotte Anderson. Charlotte, the daughter of Jerry Jones, and she has taken halftime entertainment to a whole new level. And there's more about Charlotte after this play on 3rd down. Underneath in the pass caught, but a flag is thrown in the area of a hold. Now they're saying pass is incomplete on the far sideline as Devery Henderson lost it going to the ground.
Offense number 73. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
So the pass was incomplete. You could decline the penalty and make it 4th down and 1, or take it, which they're doing.
The call there was on right guard Jari Evans. Couldn't tell if that actually hit the ground. The official had a pretty good look at it right there. But
yeah. Well, again, they ruled it incomplete. So had the Cowboys declined the penalty, it would have been 4th and 1. Instead, they took the penalty. It's 3rd and 11. And Breeze over the middle completes it for a first down. Colston with a catch to the 30. And a 28-yard completion from Drew Brees.
And it's all a product of just having time in the pocket. You know, Drew gets a good look at Colston running a dig route from the slot position. There was a lot of field there for him to fit that one in.
Clock is running, a minute left in the half, and this one is to Julius Jones with a catch, and off to the sideline he goes, a gain of 2. We were talking about Charlotte Anderson, who just found out that she is the first woman ever selected to be chair of the Salvation Army's National Advisory Board, and they kick off their holiday campaign here on Thanksgiving. And that will happen officially at halftime while Keith Urban performs.
Well, Charlotte Anderson is an impressive woman, and she's been putting on and planning this halftime show for now 13 years, and she does a remarkable job.
It's 2nd down and 8. Breeze throws it into the ground. Nothing out there. David Thomas, one of the 3 active tight ends. Shockey is out with bad ribs. The intended receiver, at least he was close to it. There is Keith Urban, his wife Nicole Kidman, a beautiful daughter. It's 3rd down and 8. That was before the game, and Keith will perform here momentarily.
Yeah, in fact, got word that he performed a free show in the Dallas area last night. Kind of an impromptu appearance. Excited a lot of his fans.
You always have your ear to the ground knowing what's going on.
You know it.
Metroplex. It's 3rd and 8. Breeze with time, steps up down the middle, broken up. Scandrick made the play. Last time we saw Scandrick, he was shaken up and going to the sideline, and now he steps in front of Colston to force 4th down.
That's a nice play by Scandrick. You see he got his head around. Drew Brees wanted to put that ball actually up a little bit higher. He's got a size advantage with Marcus Colston. He was unable to do that, but good position there by Scandrick, and a nice job of getting his head turned around and then making a play on the ball.
This will be a 45-yard try from Garrett Hartley. Set a career long. Snap was high, and the kick is good after a career long of 50 in his first attempt. So that South Lake Carroll, the Dragons getting it done. The center, Justin Drescher, the hold on the high snap by Chase Daniel, who was a great collegiate quarterback at Missouri. Really helped that program along. And then Hartley bends it through with a nice draw on it. And it's a 17-point game again. And we came on, Troy, talking about New Orleans. Are they back? Well, offensively, they keep reminding us how dangerous they are all over the place.
Well, they are dangerous because they kind of struggled there a little bit early in the season. They were up and down, very inconsistent, 4-3, but then they got on that 3-game win string. I think the Pittsburgh game, 4 weeks ago, really gave them some great confidence. Not that a defending world champion really needs much of it, but it seemed to be the thing that they needed to get going. And with the defense playing the way that they're playing, offense coming back and now playing the way that we expect them to play, yeah, they're as dangerous as anybody in football.
Well, the NFC was basically laughed at early in the season as nobody really stepped forward. It looked like the team to beat, especially with the start of the Dallas Cowboys, who were one of the preseason favorites. This is McCann on the return. And then you heard about Green Bay, and they were going to come out firing. Now Green Bay is hot. Atlanta, Philadelphia. There's some good teams in the NFC.
Well, and that's the team. I was going to say Atlanta. Remember, Atlanta beat them in New Orleans, and they've got a matchup coming up here in a few weeks. That's a big game. I think the Saints are a game and a half back right now of Atlanta. So as good as New Orleans looks right now, they're not even leading the NFC South.
We keep talking about Garrett Hartley and his struggles. He missed a 29-yarder in overtime that would have beaten Atlanta early in the season. Instead, the Falcons won that game. On first down, Kitna completes it to Miles Austin, who is trying to get to the sideline, cannot. And with 3 timeouts left and 29 seconds on the clock, Dallas will use a timeout. NASCAR season may be over, but Fox is already revving up for another exciting season, and it all begins this February with a running of the Great American Race live from the Daytona International Speedway. It's the Daytona 500 this February, only on Fox.
Hey, and how about Jimmy Johnson? I mean, not the coach Jimmy Johnson, no. But how about Jimmy Johnson, the NASCAR driver, and what he has accomplished? 5 straight championships. That's impressive. Congratulations, Jimmy Johnson.
And how about Jimmy Johnson, the coach?
How about him? Hey, how about him too?
Week in and week out.
Congratulations, Jimmy Johnson.
Congratulations to the former coach, the Dallas Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson. I don't know why, but let's just congratulations to Howie Long. First down for Dallas at their own 36. Here is Felix Jones. And Dallas will spend their second timeout after an 8-yard catch and run by Jones. There's Tony Romo. He had x-rays taken. He threw on Sunday. He had x-rays taken of that broken left collarbone, which is routine to see how the healing process is coming along. He's not close to being ready, and they do not expect him back before Christmas, if at all.
Well, there was talk about if the Cowboys were to get on a roll and somehow get back into contention, which is unlikely, but if that were to happen and he was able to play, do you put him back in and then let him become the starter again? I don't think you do, because to do that, that means the team had already been playing pretty good, and you just stick then with John Kitna. But I know it's been hard on Tony Romo. He's a heck of a competitor, and to not be a part of the team and to see the team struggle, even though they've won the last 2, not to be a part of that was hard on any competitor.
3-man rush on Kitna, who throws to Witten. Pass is caught, and Witten can't get out of bounds, and Dallas will spend their final timeout. Tackled by Jabari Greer. We take you back to Thanksgiving Day 1994. Second-year quarterback Jason Garrett was pressed into duty after injuries not only to Aikman but Rodney Peete. Troy was mailing it in that week. Trailing 17-6 at halftime to the Packers, Jason led the Cowboys to a franchise record 36 second-half points in a 42-31 win. That is the NFL highlight. I mean, the one for. And he played. He was a good backup and was a good fill-in starter for you. I think it was 6-3 when he got the shot, but that is the one. That's the game everybody talks about.
Yeah, and they should. That was a great night. It was actually a great second half on his part. He doesn't like to talk about it much. He was asked a lot about it this week since it did happen on Thanksgiving, and he was doing everything he could to deflect the attention.
14 seconds left in the half. This has got to be to the sideline. It is. That's Witten. And while we were talking about Garrett, Troy, we showed Romo as Witten stops the clock getting out of bounds. And there's been so much written about Tony Romo, the quarterback, not saying anything publicly about Jason Garrett taking over as interim head coach.
Yeah, he just hasn't said anything about anything, really. I mean, I don't think he's trying to avoid the subject of weighing in on Wade Phillips getting fired and then his offensive coordinator, now the interim head coach. I don't think he has any problem with talking about that. He just hasn't made himself available to the media, period. And he has been criticized for that, for not making himself available as the leader of the team.
I can't imagine you, Troy Aikman, as quarterback of the Dallas
Cowboys,
Cowboys,
New Orleans,
with all that's going on here in Dallas,
timeout.
as New Orleans takes a timeout, you as quarterback and the franchise guy here with the Dallas Cowboys not making a comment publicly when the head coach is fired and your coordinator is named the interim head coach.
Well, I would agree with that, and I think if you look around the league at other quarterbacks on other teams, you know, it's hard to imagine a Peyton Manning not talking about something of that nature, or a Brett Favre. I mean, obviously he talked about it, but those guys are playing, or Tom Brady. It is surprising to me. But like I said, it's not that he's avoiding that topic. He just hasn't talked about anything with regards to the Cowboys and what they've done since he went down with the injury.
Second down and 6. 10 seconds left in the half. And this one is out of the reach of everybody. A penalty flag comes in. Now only 5 seconds remain.
Illegal use of hands. Defense, number 96. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And that will work the football into the outside part of field goal range for Beeler, who's got a big leg. It'd be about a 54-yard try. And here's Doug Free on the outside working on Will Smith, and the officiating crew missed a face mask on Free. This will be a 53-yard try, which would be a career long.
Well, and we know that Beeler has a great leg. I mean, I think this is certainly within his range. He just got to hit it good.
He drills it and makes it. Career long, David Beeler, who's been hot and cold, inconsistent. That's his best in the NFL, 53 yards. And it's 20-6 at the half. Stay tuned. The NFL on Fox will continue after a word from your local Fox station. Halftime in Arlington. It is 20-6. Start of the second half. And here's some big news for you. The Black Eyed Peas will perform at this year's Bridgestone Super Bowl halftime show. Their new album, The Beginning, comes out November 30th.
I got a feeling. I had the time of my life, and I never felt this way before, and I owe it all to you. Dirty bit.
So there you go. More information for you. Will.i.am, Fergie, Black Eyed Peas will be with us right here. Super Bowl 45, February 6th. There are the first half stats. The Saints are playing like they want to go back. They've won 3 in a row. And they kick it to the Cowboys. Des Bryant on the return. Started left, comes across the field, now up the middle. Dragged down after he got across the 30 by Marvin Mitchell, a return of 31 yards. Here is Pam Oliver.
Joe, Coach, Jason Garrett with a lot of coach speak at the half. I asked him, how do you fix what happened in that first half? He said, you know what, we just got to keep on battling, take advantage of our opportunities on offense. As for Sean Payton, very pleased with the team's energy in the first half. He said somebody's going to wear down given the short week that we have, and we just hope it's not us. Back to you.
All right, Pam, and the Saints offense, Troy, that scored on 4 of their 5 first half possessions.
Well, Dallas did some good things on offense as well. They just failed to come away with the touchdown. Of course, they gave up the ball on downs and then had to settle for field goals on the last 2 drives.
Kidna finds Felix Jones, who's out across the 40.
But that last drive before the half to come away with 3 points there, I thought was big. Anytime you can come away with points right before the end of the first half, I think it's a big momentum booster going in at halftime then. And then to be able to get this game back to just a 2-possession ball game and then getting the ball coming out here to start this third quarter.
That all happened because of a career-long 53-yard field goal by David Beeler. 2nd and 2. And they reverse it with Austin carrying it. Williams out in front blocking, and Miles Austin. There are no flags. Jones delivers the block. Touchdown.
See the reverse here, and at one time it looked like the Saints had him bottled up pretty good right along the sideline. Roy Williams does a good job on the outside. That's the second good block that we've seen already here this afternoon by Roy Williams, and it allows then Miles Austin to not have to continue to extend that towards the sideline, but gave him a place to go with the ball, and then great blocking down the field after that as well.
The longest Cowboy run this year was 34 yards prior to the 60-yarder from Miles Austin. What a start to this second half, and it's all of a sudden a 7-point game.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Bud Light, it's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. By the Ford F-150 and its 4 new engines. This is the future of truck. And by Visa. More people go with Visa.
A jolt to start this second half from Miles Austin. His career rushing totals before that 60-yarder, 4 carries, 2 yards. And it's a 7-point game here in Texas. Beeler hits it. Roby will take a knee. Back to the touchdown.
Yeah, you're going to see Danny Clark. He was the one guy right here who had a chance to make a play on Miles Austin. He gets sucked up a little bit, but then as he comes out, he has to make that play right there. And Jason Witten got a nice block, maybe got away with a hold here on Malcolm Jenkins. And you see, you always know when a guy feels like he got away with one when he raises his arms like Jason Witten did. But the guy who made the block at the very end of the play was Felix Jones, and he was the guy who the ball was initially faked to in the backfield. Just great hustle on his part. Yeah, I think he got away with a hold.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to say, Mr. Former Cowboy, maybe. Here's Reggie Bush. He makes a catch. 12 yards and a first down, and that thing was just dropped in perfectly by Drew Brees.
What do we call that?
That's the stovepipe. We learned that last week for those of you scoring at home. That's dropping it down the old stovepipe.
Yeah, no defense for the stovepipe throw.
Here are the offensive leaders for the Saints. Great start for Drew Brees. Ho-hum, nothing to it. And he is accurate. He is number 1 in the NFL with completion percentage of 69.5%. Brees fires and completes it to Lance Moore. 12 yards again. Another first down.
Yeah, Lance Moore, he runs such good routes and depth that the defensive backs kind of get lost because of the depth that he's running them at. And DeMarcus Ware, they certainly got his attention, and they're going to do what they can. That time Julius Jones helping out. But these guys are crafty, these wide receivers are, against zone. You know, really pushing their depths and then getting lost by that underneath coverage.
Brees fires, and it's almost picked. Good coverage by Brooking. was in front of Jimmy Graham. Paul Pasqualoni has taken over the defense. Wade Phillips was not just the head coach but also the defensive coordinator, and Pasqualoni's brought with him more zone coverage than they were playing under Wade Phillips. That's good, but Drew Brees can find holes in zones as well as anybody.
Yeah, and you know, he just felt that the corners were being hung out a little too much, you know, with all the man coverage that they ran, and they are. I mean, you've got to be so dominant on the outside to play as much man as they were playing.
Here's the rookie. Ivory breaks loose. Big run. First down. Tackle by Allen Ball. 18 yards for Chris Ivory.
Chris Ivory, he just gets in behind fullback Heath Evans and keeps his legs going, and was able to come out the other side. It looked like he wasn't going to get much out of this run, but he got skinny right there and is able to take a look as he moves through the line of scrimmage right here, and how low he's able to get and how he squeezes through there. A lot of times there's tight spaces for these running backs. You've got to be able to do that like he just did.
That was Zach Streif, an extra offensive lineman who was in motion. We had that good block on DeMarcus Ware. Quick setup and throw, and there's the rookie, the tight end Jimmy Graham. And head coach Sean Payton told us Jimmy Graham had the best private workout he had seen since Jeremy Shockey came out of Miami, where Jimmy Graham played collegiately. And he came out over 9 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, here's a third-round pick. I think he's going to be a little bit like Jermichael Finley for the Green Bay Packers. I think in a few years we look back on this draft, 2010, you can say he was a steal in the third round.
Here's Julius Jones. Picks up 1.5 yards. We'll give him 2. Brooking is in there on the stop, and it's third down.
And I think that's one of the things that the Saints have done such a good job of. It's one thing to be well coached, but when you're making good personnel decisions, you know, you've got a chance then, and they've done that. They've really done a nice job in the draft of building this team.
Third down and 3. A blitz. Brees floats it to perfection. Marcus Colston. And I don't know how you defense that. A perfect throw from Drew Brees.
Well, you don't, because they're in man coverage. You're going to see on the outside the receivers just taking off. They're running a little twist. You see that twist there on the 2 outside receivers, and so you immediately then get the corner, in this case Orlando Scandrick, in a position of trail. So he's immediately in a trail position because of the very nature of the route, and then all it takes is a good throw by the quarterback. You can't defense it.
That's 19 yards on a 3rd and 3. Saints are in the red zone where they're 2 for 2 today and scoring touchdowns. That's batted away. Olshansky is out there on the edge. Hit him right in the helmet. Jimmy Graham, the intended receiver. This, Troy, for all the scoring for New Orleans, they've had the most trips into the red zone in the NFL, but they're number 26 in the league in turning those trips into touchdowns. Last week, 2 interceptions and a missed field goal for New Orleans.
Well, and that's been the frustration for Drew Brees. I mean, he knows they're better than that, should be better than that in this area.
2nd and 10. Brees has time, finds his man, pass is caught. That's Lance Moore, good for just 3 yards. Third down coming up.
But if you look at this game, Joe, the Cowboys offensively, they've had some things that have kept them from scoring more points. But as far as moving the ball and doing some things, they've been pretty good overall. It's this Cowboys defense, and when you look at the Cowboys season of 2010, yeah, the offense has not played as well as what you would like in certain areas. But this defense has been a major disappointment for this year.
Here comes a blitz, 3rd down and 7. Receiver fell down, and Reggie Bush can't make the catch. Bush initially slipped, and that messed up the entire play.
Well, and he still had a chance because Drew Brees hung with him, and if he just makes the catch, I think he still scores. He's going to come out of the backfield on an angle route, And right there is when he slipped. But if he's able to make the play, you see what he's working with. There's nobody out in front of him.
So his first week back, and there's some rust showing on Reggie Bush. Here's a 28-yard try for Garrett Hartley, 2 for 2 today. Now 3 for 3. So Reggie Bush is back in the lineup. Got a couple of miscues so far today. He is frustrated. So's Breeze. Almost had another. 23-13. Saints get close, have to settle for 3 inside the red zone. They've scored 5 times of their 6 possessions. 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals, and Hartley hits it. McCann on the return. Looking for something big, and he can't make the 15-yard line. Lee Torrance downfield to make the stop. And a frustrated Reggie Bush thinking about a missed opportunity. 10-point game in Texas.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. The signal is yours. Wield it to transmit anything you want. Verizon.
How about that work by Anthony Hargrove through Tashard Choice?
Choice has only given up 60 pounds.
To dig his way out from under the turf. Kitna with a pocket around him for Witten. Good start to this drive for Dallas. Completion of 20 yards.
That's the area of the field that Jason Witten knows all too well. You know, they like to get him going across the field from that tight end position, and John Kitna puts the ball on him. And John Kitna is quietly having himself a pretty good game, especially when you consider what it is that he's going up against with this Saints defensive secondary. You know, 5 of the last 6 opponents that they've played, they've held for 175 yards or less passing. Kitna almost had that at halftime.
20-yard completion now, delayed handoff to Felix Jones. Out to the 35. Carry of 3 yards. Well, we already talked about it, but it's worth talking about again. A huge day of games right here on Fox this week, this Sunday. Doubleheader, game 1, Packers and Falcons. As good as it gets in the NFC. Vikings, Redskins, Panthers, Browns. America's game of the week, Eagles and Bears in Chicago, or the Bucks and Ravens. Another good one of the Rams alive in the NFC West against the Broncos. Starting at 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ford Fox NFL pregame show brought to you by the all-new Ford F-150, built Ford tough. Should be fun this Sunday. Don't even have to change the channel. 2nd and 7. Kitna broken up. Roy Williams, the intended receiver, and the play was made by Jabari Greer. 3rd and 7.
You know, Des Bryant has been pretty quiet here this afternoon, but what they're doing is at the snap, they're making it look like it's one-on-one, but at the last minute, you see number 41 there, Roman Harper. He had started up in the line of scrimmage and then came off the ball to give help on the outside. So he has certainly got a lot of attention by the safeties, and more times than not, they're putting 2 guys on Des Bryant. They don't want him to break this game open.
Kitna had completed 9 straight. And a false start. Gerard didn't snap it. Everybody else moved, but no snap.
False start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
So the one guy who didn't do anything, Andre Gerard, is flagged for the false start. Everybody else around him was firing off the ball.
Something tells me he was supposed to snap it.
I think so.
You know, when he's supposed to snap it, he doesn't snap it. When he's not supposed to snap it, he does. Come on, Andre.
3rd down and 11. Just a 3-man rush. This one's too hard. Batted in the air and incomplete. Off the hands of Bryant. And then Shanley had a shot at it, but couldn't adjust.
Boy, they got lucky there, because when the ball goes up like that, generally is intercepted, and the Saints have had a hard time catching the ball this year as well, coming into this game with only 6 interceptions. Of course, they had the one in this game last year, 3rd in the NFL with 26 interceptions.
Reggie Bush waits, and penalty flags before the snap and a false start.
False start, offense, number 50. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
That's Sean Lee. This is some of the stuff that the Cowboys had avoided in 2 games under Jason Garrett, but there have been some sloppy moments in this game for the Dallas Cowboys as Witten tries to fire up the rest of the offense. McBriar hits a booming punt. And from just outside the 15-yard line, Reggie Bush looking for room. Penalty flag flies. Looked like a bad block, and now the ball comes out. Jesse Holley knocked it out, and the Cowboys have the football. There's a flag down, but it looks like it's against New Orleans. Leon Williams recovered the fumble.
Well, Reggie has been known before to put the ball on the ground.
Illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 31. That penalty decline. The result of the play, 1st down, Dallas.
But you're always worried about it. You see, there's a Jesse Holley who comes in and makes the play, knocks it out of Reggie Bush's hands. But you always worry. Consider the fact that Reggie Bush hasn't played in 8 weeks. When you get out there and then you finally have some contact, I think it was more of a good play by Jesse Holley than it was being careless by Reggie Bush.
So Reggie Bush is put out there to hit a home run. He just struck out. Turning it over, Holley, one of the backup wide receivers, gets that reaction from rookie Des Bryant, and the Cowboys take over at the New Orleans 15, down by 10. Out of the backfield, Felix Jones. Bryant blocking, and a pretty good play. Forced out by Jenkins. As Felix Jones tiptoed down the sideline, a gain of 8.
And you're going to see Jesse Holley there. You see him in pursuit. That's just good hustle on his part to make a play. And we've seen a few of those now. We've seen DeMarcus Ware running down the field a number of times making plays. Of course, we saw Felix Jones on the touchdown that Miles Austin had. You say good things happen around the ball. It's a good idea to get to it.
Joe DeCamillis, the special teams coordinator for Dallas, has to be happy about that effort by Holley. Here is Felix Jones, and he will twist his way, brought down right at the marker at the 5. Depends on the spot, and it is a 1st down, 1st and goal from the 5-yard line for Dallas, down by 10.
We'll see what Dallas is able to do now once they're down in here. They got down in here in the 1st half, and they couldn't punch it in and had to settle for a field goal inside the 5-yard line.
This is coming into the game the number 8 team in the NFL in turning red zone trips into touchdowns, the Dallas Cowboys. Bryant is at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, if they single him, he's going to get safety help here.
Just got it away. Austin incomplete. And the Cowboys just avoided a delay of game call.
Well, I think Des Bryant is starting to get a little frustrated because even no matter where the safety is, if you throw a fade ball against the corner, the safety is not going to be a factor. He's going to take anything away to the inside. And, we've seen it all year from this guy. When the ball's in the air, he's got a pretty good chance of coming down with it. Of course, he's not even going to be on the field here.
2nd and goal. Barber gets it. Marion Barber is to the 2. Anthony Hargrove, the first guy to meet Marion Barber, and it'll be 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line.
Well, the Saints on that play, they went with 5 defensive linemen anticipating run. Marion got a little bit of yardage there, but now this becomes a critical 3rd down.
Cowboys trying to turn that Reggie Bush fumble into 7 points. Bryant at the top. Inside handoff, Barber fights his way. No signal, held up short by Vilma. Jonathan Vilma, the middle linebacker, made the stop, and it's 4th down.
Jonathan Vilma, I mean, that's a good job on his part of just filling the hole. And that's what you want from your middle linebacker, and he didn't give any ground once contact was made.
And here's another 4th down try. And I guess on some level, why not? 3 and 7, you're down by 10. You need points taking on a Drew Brees-led team, and here it is, 4th and goal. Barber, touchdown.
Position, Joe, and it's really just a matter of whose pad level gets lower, and you get in behind Gronkowski, the fullback, and you know, who's going to win the one-on-one matchups and create some type of push, and Dallas was able to.
This to make it a 3-point game. Cowboys fighting back. They get the Reggie Bush turnover, turn it into 7. 3rd rushing touchdown by a Dallas running back all year, and number 24 has all 3. Jason Garrett and the Cowboys with Kitten at quarterback down by 3. Saints led 17-0 after 1 quarter. The Dallas defense, to their credit, they've allowed just 6 points since then, and the Cowboys offensively have come alive, made that turnover count for 7. It's 23-20. Peeler drives it into the back of the end zone. Reggie Bush coughed it up. Holly forced the fumble. And Princeton grad Jason Garrett getting nuts over on the sideline with his team down by 3.
Hi, I'm Brittany Breeze. This is my husband Drew. This is Bowen. This is Balin, and we want to wish you
Happy Thanksgiving.
From the Breeze family to you, 93,985 in Cowboys Stadium, watching what's turned into a good game. And now the father of little Bowen Breeze will go back to work. And Drew has had a nice game. So far he is 17 of 25, 239 yards, but he has to get back after it.
Yeah, it's just some of the red zone problems that have plagued them really for much of the year.
Starting at the 20. Handoff is to Julius Jones, and a nice start to this drive. He got 9, maybe 9.5 cents a ball on the tackle. And Marion Barber had to really fight his way into the end zone on 4th down.
Yeah, pretty tough going down there around the goal line, and he was able, through second effort, get it across.
Julius Jones picks up a 1st down.
You know, really now it's about this Cowboys defense and whether or not they're going to be able to make some stops. And you know, you think back to that last possession by New Orleans and the drop by Reggie Bush, which in all likelihood would have been a touchdown. They had to settle for a field goal, and then the fumble. I mean, you're talking, that's an 11-point swing on 2 plays there by Reggie Bush.
Guy that has missed 8 games. Coming back, activated today, and that has not paid off. Breeze fires and completes to the rookie tight end Jimmy Graham. 5-yard pickup. With under 3.5 to go in what is a long quarter, a long game. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
I think it's interesting that last year the Cowboys, if they had not have beaten the Saints in New Orleans, in all likelihood, their season was over. They had really been struggling, and it led them then into the playoffs, and they won a playoff game. And it's ironic that a win here for Dallas could secure Jason Garrett as the head coach next year.
It's 2nd down and 5. Breeze rolls right, throws, hits Colston, who stays up and takes it into Dallas territory. The odds on Jason Garrett, they rise and fall every week. So far, it's trending up. After week 1 for him, he wins at the Giants. The Giants were red hot coming into that game. Game happened in New Jersey. Then last week, they end up beating Detroit, something that I think people expected. And now this week, with a schedule the rest of the way, they've got Philly twice in the last 4 games. It's out there for him with this club to secure his job. Handoff is to Ivory for 4.
And one of the real challenges for Jason Garrett is, I asked him if he would ever consider not calling the plays, if he was the full-time head coach. And it's not something that he'd really plan on ever giving up. He likes doing it. He enjoys it. But if there was ever a time that he was not going to call plays, now would be the time, because him trying to change a lot of things as a head coach and oversee all that is a little bit compromised when you're then having to go to offensive meetings and still coordinate the offensive side of the ball.
On 2nd down, pass caught by Colston, and he is rolled forward, brought down right at the marker. Looks to be enough for a 1st down, and it is.
And this is just another methodical drive here by the New Orleans Saints. Nobody's in much of a hurry, and Drew Brees is very calm within the pocket and finding the open guy, and here they go.
When you talk about Garrett calling the plays, the guy across the field is calling the plays, and the defensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints, Greg Williams, said when you get that shot, guys make a mistake and they step away from what they did that got him the job in the first place. As Julius Jones twists down inside the 35, picked up 5. Sean Lee on the tackle.
And then, of course, Sean Payton, he was hired after being the offensive coordinator with the Dallas Cowboys under Bill Parcells, and I really believe that if Jerry Jones was being completely honest, he's the one assistant coach that Jerry Jones wishes had never got out of the building. He was highly respected during his years with the Cowboys, and I think they knew that he was going to go on and do some special things whenever he landed a head job.
Sean Payton's first full year as offensive coordinator for the Giants. They went to the Super Bowl under Jim Fossil. Here's Graham! And that ball comes out going to the ground. That's an incomplete pass. As a process of the catch going to the ground, it popped out incomplete.
Yeah, he had it there for a minute, but you called it, Joe. You got to hang on to it as you go down to the ground, and he didn't. And a pretty easy call there, and good call on the incompletion. And going back to Sean Payton, Bill Parcells hired him. You remember when play calling got taken away from him in New York under Jim Fossil? Bill Parcells hired him with the Cowboys, and he had never met him personally, had only spoken to him on the phone because he was so impressed with how Sean Payton had handled everything in New York.
That's a delay of game. Either delay a game or timeout if Payton caught it. So they threw the flag, then pick it up. As Sean Payton on the sideline saw the play clock winding down and called a timeout before the play clock expired. And as we welcome you inside the booth, you see Jeremy Shockey, who's inactive with bad ribs. Got a ball game, and the Saints now, they got close. They had a shot. They came away with 3 points their last time down, and now they're on the move here again.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys defensively just really haven't had a lot of answers for slowing down this New Orleans offense. Not a lot of teams have in general, over the last several years. But the Cowboys have, they've tried to match it offensively and get some things going and score some points, move the ball down the field. But each time they've done that and they've kind of got within striking distance, the defense just hasn't been able to make a stop.
It's 3rd and 5. Blitz off the edge. Pass is broken up. Brooking made the play in front of Dave Thomas.
Well, that's a stop they needed because the Saints were doing a nice job moving the ball down the field. Keith Brooking is engaged, and he plays that very well. And I'm not sure that, even if David Thomas had been able to make that catch, he would have been short of the first down. Of course, he would have at least put him in position then to come away with a field goal.
Well, right now, the Saints are passing on a 53-yard field goal to go for it on 4th and 5. Breeze for more, incomplete. And the Saints turn it over on downs.
Well, there's that little void there right along the sideline, and if you're quick with the ball, as Breeze was, you got a chance to fit it in there before you get the safety over the top. This time, Allen Ball. It was just a ball that was a little bit high, and Lance Moore not able to get up and bring that one in.
Ball was wise that he came in low and didn't go after Lance Moore up around the head. He had a wide open shot at him. And instead of a foolish penalty, he went in with his shoulder into the chest. No flag. And the Cowboys take over down 3. 19 seconds left in the third quarter, and they'll start with a throw. Kidna, Felix Jones, nice move. Ball came out when he hit the ground. And there is a scramble for the football. This could be a killer turnover for the Dallas Cowboys. And was he down when the ball popped out? Right now they're saying live ball, and we'll see who comes away with it. The Cowboys do. Let's take another look anyway. They got on top of the fumble, and the ball was indeed knocked out by Cedric Ellis before Felix Jones was down. But it's a 14-yard catch and run, and that's the end of the third quarter here in Arlington. A game that was 17-0 after 1 is now 23-20 after 3. Saints on top, Cowboys with a football. Back after this from your local Fox station. That's what the Cowboys have done on the scoreboard. They've outscored New Orleans 20-6 in the last 20 minutes. We start the fourth quarter, and on first down, Kidna goes down, ball's out. And it's picked up by Bennett. Martellus Bennett comes away with a football. They keep the play alive, and it turns into a gain. Will Smith, the first one there. Kidna lost it, and Martellus Bennett saved it for Dallas.
Will Smith just did a nice job of, once Kidna stepped up in the pocket, he came off the block and he was able to then get the hit strip on John Kidna. The Cowboys have now been fortunate twice on this drive.
Turns into a gain of 5 yards, 2nd and 5. Penalty flag on the play. Barber breaks loose. But we'll check the flag. Barber down to the New Orleans 32. Let's see if it's coming back. It's an illegal shift against Dallas. That play will not stand.
Illegal shift. Offense. Number 88 was in motion, was moving while the motion man was moving. 5-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
That's on Des Bryant, the rookie, who does not have a catch today. And the last 2 defensive coordinators we've talked to, and you hinted around at this, Troy, Bryant, who's hot, is now considered the top threat offensively. Not Miles Austin, not Witten. It's Bryant for defensive coordinators.
Yeah, and I think that if I was John Kidna, I'd find a way to get the ball to Des Bryant. You know, John Kidna could have helped him too. There's got to be a shift there, and if he had noticed Des Bryant was moving, to try to get him then to get set.
Now 2nd down and 10. They hand it off to Barber. This one's bottled up a little better. A gain of 6. First guy there was Cedric Ellis. And it's 3rd down for Dallas.
I think they've just targeted Des Bryant twice, you know, in this game. And as you said, he doesn't have a reception. And, you know, I commented on it. The Saints are doing some creative stuff in making sure they've got 2 bodies on Des Bryant. But still, having said that, every great receiver in the league has double coverage. You know, you can still find ways to get him the ball or give him at least opportunities.
Here comes a blitz. Kitna fires and hits Witten. Forward progress. Gave him enough for a first down. He works his way back on the other side, but this is enough for Dallas. First down, Cowboys, a gain of 5.
Well, that was a big third down conversion there for Dallas, and you know, he just comes up, turns around, and John Kitna then just sticks it on him, and you know, he got the, it looked like they had him spotted past the first down line at that point right there before he got gang tackled by about 6 guys.
7 catches, 71 yards for Witten. He came in as the Cowboys' leading receiver. He now has 57 on the year. Out of the backfield is Felix Jones. Had done this a lot. Out in space, he tries to get around Roman Harper, who drags him down, a gain of 4.
Well, and the reason why they've been able to get the ball to their backs, or the reason that Jason Witten is having the day that he's having and Felix Jones is because of all the attention they're paying to the outside. And that, you know, they compared Des Bryant a lot to Michael Irvin, and on the field that is, but that's the stuff Michael would do too, you know, and Michael wasn't a disruptive player on the sidelines. He just wanted the ball thrown to him, and that's what I'm sensing from Des Bryant as well.
On 2nd down and 6, the Cowboys moving it. Felix Jones picks up 2, and now another big 3rd down coming up, as the Dallas Cowboys are right there on the outside edge of field goal range for Beeler as it is. And here comes Des Bryant. After getting calmed down on the sideline, he's been shut out.
Well, and John Kitna, he's unaware of just how frustrated Des Bryant at least was a moment ago on the sidelines before Ray Sherman was able to calm him down and some others. Well, we'll see if maybe he gets an opportunity on this play.
Play clock is at 5. And Cowboys weren't set. Kitna has to use a timeout. Each side has 2 left. 3rd down for the Dallas Cowboys when we return.
Today's game is sponsored by Toyota. By State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by the Green Hornet, in theaters January 14th, 2011. This film is not yet rated.
Moment on the sideline during the break. Ray Sherman, the veteran coach, wide receivers coach, and a great guy, came over to try and calm down the rookie Des Bryant.
Hey, he's been around some of those divas. He knows how to handle them.
It's 3rd down and 4. So have you.
I still am.
Here is a pass behind Des Bryant. So they finally go in his direction. Greer with a coverage. Pass is incomplete, and now here comes another long field goal try for Beeler.
It was the right idea. It just wasn't a real good throw, and I know what the idea was. They want to throw that back shoulder, but you know, really not much of an opportunity there for Des to be able to make a play.
Now they bring the punt team on. I'm surprised. This would be a 53-yard try. Beeler's already hit from 53, and instead of an attempt to tie it, they pass on it.
I think it's all about field position, Joe, but he's definitely got enough leg from this distance.
And now McBriar just kicks it off the ground. They're going to throw a flag. Tracy Porter on the return is dragged down across the 15. But a flag is thrown. The referee threw it. That's Boger. And McBriar just dropped it and then off the ground kicked it.
I like the kick. It was a good snap. He just didn't handle it very well, but you know, he did all that he could think of.
Played Australian rules football, and that thing was end over end, and then McBriar knocked it forward, and they threw a flag for the kick. Officials get together, and we'll get the call from Boger. I think the interesting thing is passing on the 53-yard try. Sometimes for a team led by Drew Brees, field position, whether you back them up or not, doesn't really matter.
Well, no, I think when you're looking at it with a 3-point deficit, you're saying, well, you know, hey, Beeler's not automatic either.
Oh,
you just hate to give up the short field then to the Saints. They've been hard enough to stop as it is. You're pretty much giving up points right away at that position. And, you know, I could see it going either way. I don't necessarily agree with the call to punt it. That if you do, at least, you know, you got to trust the guys you got. And
illegal kick. Kicking team, number 1. That penalty is declined. The result of the play will be first down, New Orleans.
You know, if you've got Beeler on your team because he's got a strong leg, you got to give him a chance to make some of those kicks.
It's a 23-20 Saints lead. They have the ball. McBride talks about kicking that loose ball, which is a foul, but we're going to bring Mike Pereira in after a play. Let's just talk again briefly. Jason Garrett passes on a 53-yard try to tie it, and in the end the Cowboys net only 19 yards of field position as the Saints take over just outside their own 15, and the pass is incomplete. Here's Mike Pereira, and what did we see there a moment ago, and what exactly was the foul called on the kick by McBride?
Well, just as you said, what you can't do is you can't kick a loose ball. So that was a backward pass, no possession by the kicker. So he basically kicked a loose ball, a backward pass, not a kicking play. So therefore the yardage does not tack onto the return. They had to decline it to keep the ball.
Mike, thank you. And after an incompletion, it's 2nd and 10. Handoff is to Julius Jones. He has split the carries with Chris Ivory. A gain of 3 and a 3rd down and 7 coming up.
Yeah, another 3rd down play and another critical down, you know, for Dallas in order to try to make a stop here with the Saints. And both of these teams today, of course, the Saints came into the game leading the NFL on 3rd down, converting 50%, which is ridiculously good. And they've been at 50% again here this afternoon.
It's 3rd and 7. Breeze sets up over the middle. The rookie can't make the catch. Sensabaugh picks it off through the hands of Jimmy Graham. Sensabaugh down the sideline. Cowboys take over down 3. Sensabaugh, 2nd interception of the season. 14-yard return. Dallas has it at the Saints 39, down by 3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Windows 7.
One thing the Cowboys have done under Jason Garrett is win the turnover battle. They're +1 today. That was the 2nd Saints turnover. The Bush fumble and now the interception off the hands of Jimmy Graham.
Well, they got the 2-deep look from Dallas, and so this is where it's vulnerable right down the middle. A perfectly thrown pass by Drew Brees right in the hands there of Jimmy Graham's, and then of course Sensabaugh gets the deflection. But you know, Brees has had a number of interceptions this year, more so than what he had last year, but a lot of them, like what we just saw, tip balls. Great job there by Drew Brees going over to the young rookie and trying to cheer him up.
Told him to shake it off. It's 2nd down and 9. Extra men on the rush, and there's Roy Williams inside the 15-yard line.
Now Patrick Robinson, the rookie, you see he good release there by Roy Williams, but he got Robinson out on his heels and to the outside, and you know, once that happened, then Roy Williams was smooth sailing on the slant route. You see he's explaining to him right there how Patrick Robinson, the rookie, was trying to play him, and he never really got to jam on him and open the door for the slant.
24 yards for Roy Williams, and now Marion Barber keeps plugging down inside the 10. During the 1-7 start, the Cowboys were averaging 20 points per game and were -9 in the turnover ratio. Since Jason Garrett took over 2-0, 34 points per game and +3. They're +1 here today. And they have a second down at the New Orleans 10, down by 3.
That's been the biggest difference that I've seen here over the last 2.5 games is the defense has given up yards, but they've been able to come away with takeaways, something that you really hadn't seen from them for a few years.
Second down and 6. Kitna throws somehow. Roy Williams makes the catch and spins for a first down. What a catch.
That was a good catch, and he fell down to start with. And yet Kitna hung with him. You know, he comes off the line of scrimmage and he falls down there because of the contact, but he keeps the play alive. And John Kitna, he had some mustard on that one, Joe. And that's a good catch by Roy Williams in a small space.
A couple of former Detroit Lions hooking up to set up a 1st and goal. From the 3.
Those two guys have done that a few times in Detroit.
Here's Barber. He already has one. And now another.
Excuse me.
Oh, elbows down. Looked like he was down short of the goal line, and they're pleading with the bench. They're going to give it a look. It looked like the elbow, the forearm was on the ground before the ball broke the plane, if it did at all, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think it broke the plane, and I agree with you, Joe, that the elbow was down well before the ball getting close to the goal line.
And now I guess they've overruled the touchdown. So during the celebration, you saw the one official on the near side run in and say touchdown. The official on the far side overruled it, and there doesn't have to be a challenge. So one official overrules the other, and now it's 2nd and goal from inches away.
I think we're going to see that same play again.
Stumbling on his way to the end zone and short to bring up 3rd and goal. Might have even lost a couple of inches. And Marion Barber almost took a nosedive at the snap.
Yeah, he kind of lost his footing coming out from underneath. Right there, he never really got his balance, and so he lost all his power and tried to just lunge and get as much of it as he can, you know, hoping that he could get it across the goal line.
Now he comes out.
He may have lost yardage on that play.
I think so. He comes out to Shard Choice. A smaller back comes in, 5'10", 212. And he gets it. Choice to the goal line. Touchdown. First touchdown of the year for Tashard Choice.
There really wasn't all that much movement up front. In fact, Tashard Choice runs into Doug Free, the left tackle. And normally when you get held up like that and lose any kind of momentum, there's other defenders there. But because Andre Gerard got such a nice push at the center position, Choice was able to find a hole to get it in the end zone.
The 17-point Saints lead is gone. Choice stomping up and down the sidelines after pounding it in. Jason Garrett can be magical on Thanksgiving. His team's up by 4. Members of our crew on this Thanksgiving working hard on the holiday, and the faces and the people who help bring you the NFL on Fox with our group week after week after week after week. The people that Troy, Pam, and I rely on every week, and they do such a great job, including Ed Spida, our statistician here in the booth, the best in the business, and Dave Schwabe, who does it all up here. Our spotter, Steve Horn, editorial consultant. And it's now a 4-point Dallas Cowboy lead with under 6 to play on Thanksgiving. What a game this turned out to be. Roby will take a knee. Another touchback. And Drew Brees, with his team trailing for the first time, hits the field.
Boy, and we saw that the Saints, at one time to start this game, were up 17-0, and they've had a lot of opportunities, and they've just not been able to make the play, or they've had the turnover, as we said. But they had a chance to really open this thing up on the third down pass to Reggie Bush that they had to settle for the field goal on, and then the fumble after that really changed the entire complexity of this game.
First down from the 20. And the handoff is to Julius Jones. Gets 2, and then he stood up. Maybe 2.5. Brooking is in the middle of it. The biggest Cowboys comeback on Thanksgiving, 14 points. This was a 17-point New Orleans lead after 1, and that was back in '94. We already talked about it against Green Bay. Jason Garrett, who's now the interim head coach, was at quarterback, playing in place of the injured Troy Aikman and your backup Rodney Peete. 2nd and 7. Brees has to float it. David Thomas incomplete.
Well, the Cowboys brought some pressure in order to try to get Drew Brees to move in the pocket, and because of that, he wasn't able to set his feet and deliver a little bit better ball. With DeMarcus Ware there, and it forced Brees out of the pocket off the other side. Well, this is a veteran group here on this offense. They're used to these situations.
3rd and 7. Brees steps up and down he goes in the arms of Ratliff.
Well, they got pressure on the outside. Ratliff on the inside. But it was that outside pressure that forced Brees to step up. And then Ratliff comes up and makes the play.
Second Cowboy sack of the day. Ware has the other. And now Dez Bryant, who wants to put his mark on this Thanksgiving game, waits for the punt. Jimmy Graham, the rookie, came on the field late. There's a flag down. It's against New Orleans. Graham wasn't out there. And so Graham has had a rough stretch. He tipped the ball for an interception, and now he wasn't on the punt team. And instead of just staying on the sideline, he ran on late. And they threw the flag. He wasn't across the ball. And the Saints have unraveled here in the second half.
Illegal shift, offense, number 80. 5-yard penalty, replay, 4th down.
So with the glowing reports of Jimmy Graham, there's Graham. He was moving at the snap, so an illegal shift could have been an offside if he wasn't across the ball. Either way, it erases a 51-yard punt. And now the two big playmakers, Dez Bryant and Brian McCann, are waiting deep for Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, here they are at the 45-yard line, and if they get any kind of return, they're going to have awfully good field position.
With under 5 to play. Morstead hits it. It's a beauty. Wow. Blasted, and Dez Bryant hauls it in. Cuts it upfield. And a nice return by Dez Bryant up to the Dallas 38. 64-yard punt from Thomas Morstead and a 13-yard return by Dez Bryant, who's been frustrated offensively, and the Saints have to be wondering what's hit him here after that 17-0 start.
I tell you what, I'm impressed with that punt right there. I mean, you talk about a timely punt when they had to get Morstead to really bomb one of his best and for him to deliver. It's pretty impressive.
Moore stood number 4 in the NFL with a punt average of over 46.5 yards per punt coming in. That one over 60. Here is Felix Jones. Shanley on the stop, a gain of just 1.
Well, we've been talking about the New Orleans Saints defense and how much improved they are from a year ago, and now's their opportunity to show that they can make a key stop at a critical moment in the game to give their offense another opportunity.
And right now they're betting on this possession here defensively, as the New Orleans Saints have just used their second timeout. So the Saints now only have 1 timeout remaining, and we welcome you inside our booth. Who could have seen this coming after a 17-0 start by the Saints on top after 1, and Dallas with not much left to play for except pride. They've shown their pride here today on Thanksgiving.
Well, they sure have, and they have here over the last 3 weeks. Been pretty impressive what the Cowboys have been able to do for a team that essentially is not playing for much. They are professionals, but for the Saints, you know, you said it a moment ago, some mistakes that you just really wouldn't expect to see. You know, not only from a defending world champion, but just from a team that has been in big games before.
Second down and 9, and it's a handoff to Felix Jones. And with 3rd and long coming up, the Saints will not use a timeout. Let's go down to Pam Oliver. Pam.
Well, Joe, Marion Barber, he's watching all the action from the sideline right now, looking at him. He's got a huge bandage on his left calf. They say it's a strain. His return is questionable. Back to you.
All right, that happened, as we saw when he was stumbling, trying to pound it in the last time the Cowboys had it, just outside the Saints end zone. And now with the clock running, it's 3rd and 6. And a big opportunity here for the Saints defensively to get a stop. Kitna throws and hits Roy Williams. What a conversion. Down inside the 15. Ball comes out, and they're saying that it belongs to New Orleans. Malcolm Jenkins. And we'll take another look at this. Let's take a look at the end of the play and see when it comes out.
We've got the arm in there and went for the strip. Yep. It definitely came out and right into the arms of Malcolm Jenkins. That's just one great play by Malcolm Jenkins, who Greg Williams says is the best defensive player they have on their team.
That ball never hit the ground, and Jenkins just ripped it out as he and Roy Williams went to the ground inside the 15. They'll mark it at the 11, and Drew Brees now has his team down by 4 with 1 timeout left and 3:03 on the clock.
When he was working against Patrick Robinson, he went to the ground, and boy, what a change of events.
The play netted 47 yards of field position, but the Saints get the ball. Colston with a catch out across the 30, knocked down at the 33.
Pretty good coverage once again, but you know, Drew Brees knows where to put the ball. He puts it up high, and he goes and gets it. Talk about putting the defense on the ropes right now. No huddle by the Saints.
Brees steps up down the middle of the field. Devery Henderson can't hang on. Newman knocked it away. 2nd and 10.
Drew Brees has thrown some nice balls in this game. You know, not an easy catch. He's trying to bring that one in. Really a nice play by Terrence Newman as Henderson goes to bring that in. Fingertip. Newman goes right for the ball. That's just a good play on his part.
Newman with 7 tackles and knocked that out of the hands of Devery Henderson. What a play by Malcolm Jenkins. He has single-handedly given the New Orleans Saints a chance. 2nd and 10. Brees throws sideline over the head of David Thomas. Let's go back to that play made by Malcolm Jenkins.
Same thing we saw earlier, the matchup. Patrick Robinson, he wants to come up and act like he's going to jam Roy Williams. He loses his balance, gets turned around, and Malcolm Jenkins protects him on it. I'll tell you what, you can watch football a long time and not see many plays as good as that one.
And now it's 3rd and 10 with 2:25 left. Breeze pumps and now goes deep. Meacham. Coverage by Newman, and Meacham was hit in stride. What a throw by Breeze.
Pretty simple route. They just run a go route right by Terrence Newman.
That's the first catch of the game for Robert Meacham. 55 yards. Sets up New Orleans at the Dallas 12. Down by 4. 2 minutes left. We welcome you back on Thanksgiving. The guys who sit up front in our production truck, Colby Bourgeois, who hits all those buttons. It's the hardest job. Rich Russo, our director. Richie Zients, our producer. Derek Manning in the back. Joe Stevens sets us up. Our boss, Eric Shanks. I mean, everybody's here on Thanksgiving in Arlington. And it's a first down for the Saints at the Dallas 12, down by 4. They need a touchdown. Looking for their 4th straight win. The Super Bowl champion Saints. Breeze, end zone. More, touchdown. And New Orleans is back on top. At times they can make it look so easy, and Roy Williams, who had the football stripped by Malcolm Jenkins, will have to go back on the field as the Cowboys are now trailing.
They motion Lance Moore. He knows he's got man coverage. Michael Jenkins going in motion with him, and then it's just one-on-one. Michael Jenkins sits on the route, anticipating that he's going to squat down around the goal line. He goes to the post, touchdown.
6th touchdown catch of the season for Lance Moore. What a game. 5 plays, 89 yards, 68 seconds, and at times the Saints can make it look so easy. But this really, I mean, this is one singular play by Malcolm Jenkins, second-year player, who just stripped it from Roy Williams as the two went to the ground on that completion from Kitna.
Well, there's no question that that was a great play there by Malcolm Jenkins, but then you got to do something with it, and that's exactly what Drew Brees and company were able to do. You got the touchdown there, but what set that up was the long ball right at the 2-minute warning up the right sideline against Terrence Newman to Robert Meacham. A perfectly thrown pass. And Robert Meacham just flat ran right by Terrence Newman, and Drew Brees delivered it right on the money.
So now 1:55 remaining. Dallas has 2 timeouts left. They're down by only 3. That 55-yard completion to Robert Meacham, his first catch of the game, and that meant that Brees had hit 7 different receivers, and Brees then capped it with a touchdown to Moore.
Well, there's the throw there to Robert Meacham that got him down in there for the touchdown to Lance Moore. It goes back to what we said earlier in the game, Joe. Yes, Marcus Colston's the guy who leads the team in receptions, but every one of these guys can come up big at any moment. You called it. Robert Meacham hadn't had a catch in the game. A big one there, and a nice job by Lance Moore setting up Michael Jenkins for the touchdown.
For Brees, 352 yards passing. 5th time this season and the 42nd time in his career that Drew Brees is over 300 yards through the air. And now the big home run hitter for the Dallas Cowboys, Des Bryant, waits for the kick from Garrett Hartley.
Drew Brees, a hard one to bet against.
30-27 with under 2 to go. And Bryant will take it from halfway in the end zone. Lowers his head and fights his way across the 20. So now for the Dallas Cowboys, who have won 2 straight. It's John Kitna on the field with his team down by 3, and here's that collision. Usama Young was in there for the Saints, and he wasn't alone, and Bryant,
wow, I think his ears are ringing. There were a lot of plastic banging right there.
Anthony Waters was in on that hit as well. Starting at the 24. Kitna can't find anywhere to go with it, so he carries it forward. Smith on the stop, a gain of 4. 2 timeouts remaining, and that's to be found on the Fox box, top left-hand corner of your screen. The Cowboys taking a long time to get to the line here as we're under a minute and a half.
You start moving receivers from one side of the formation to the other, you eat up a lot of clock time.
Kedna throws, hits Witten for a first down. The Cowboys will hang on to their 2 timeouts.
That's what he's doing again. He's moving Miles Austin then over to the slot. But when you start doing that, when you start moving receivers, you've got to then wait for them to get lined up, and you can't get the ball snapped as quickly as you'd like.
Minute to go. Here's Witten. Gets a block and will pop out of bounds. They're at the 48. Beeler has already hit from 53. That was his career long, which came at the end of the first half. That would mean taking it to the 35-yard line for a 53-yard try.
Well, they've got a lot of time, 2 timeouts, and they don't have to get a whole lot further to get in his range.
The last completion for 12 to Witten, and now Jason Witten gets another and hops out of bounds, and they're making it look easy now offensively. The Dallas Cowboys are. Good for 9 was Witten.
Yeah, my guess is that you know, right now, knowing that a field goal ties this game up, Jon Kitna, be conservative, take the things that the sure throws, and then once you get into a position where you're comfortable with being in field goal range, then start taking some shots.
Here's a pass dropped as Miles Austin started to run before he made the catch. The other part of it, and now it's 3rd down and a yard, is that Beeler has been anything but consistent as the field goal kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. Last year, he was their kickoff specialist.
Now, there's not a, I mean, you got to have confidence in your kicker. I say that. I don't know how much confidence they do have in Beeler.
They fake the handoff, flip it high, pass is caught by Williams. Great effort. And Roy Williams reaches for the first down. And remember, he's on the hook for dropping that ball or losing it to Malcolm Jenkins last time he had it.
Yeah, 2 problems here for Jabari Greer. One, he doesn't make the tackle there, so it allows Roy Williams then to pick up the first down. Secondly, if you make the tackle, the Cowboys would either have to call a timeout or there's going to be time coming off the clock.
Pass is into the turf in the direction of Des Bryant. Austin was out in that neighborhood as well. In case you're wondering, it would be a 59-yard try from this spot, so now you start measuring the other way. They're 6 yards away from that 53-yard field goal mark that Beeler hit from at the end of the first half. That line near the 35. Here's one batted away in the direction of Bryant. Roman Harper, the safety, up to bat it away.
They're just trying to get something out quick, and knowing they don't need to pick up all that much more yardage to be well within Beeler's range, they're trying to throw some quick passes, some easy high percentage stuff, so there's not much risk involved. They just haven't been able to execute it.
Kedna throws, pass incomplete. That's Bryant. They're outside field goal range at this point, and it's 4th down, so they're kind of caught in between where you keep the offense out there and you need 10 yards to stay alive.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they're on 2nd down or 3rd down. They didn't try some type of draw in order to see if they could get some yardage with the timeouts that they had. That play there, a good idea. Again, the back shoulder throw, but we just haven't seen Dallas have much success with that throw here this afternoon.
Well, instead of go for it on 4th down, they're going to try from 59. Hayden tried to call a timeout, didn't get it. Beeler misses. Watch Payton right before the snap. That's him celebrating the miss, but just before the snap, He tried to call a quick timeout, didn't get it. And Peyton and the Saints have to be happy about that as Beeler misses it wide left. He had the distance.
Yeah, he had the leg. He just pulled it left. And here's the shot of Sean Payton trying to get the timeout before the snap of the ball, and lucky for him, he didn't get it.
And the Saints will win their 4th in a row. And the 2-game win streak under Jason Garrett is over for Dallas. It's 30-27. Beeler had enough leg, missed it. Cowboys didn't go for it on 4th and 10, and Beeler missed it wide left.
And I think the decision to kick it was the right decision. I mean, rather than go for it on 4th and 10, knowing that he has the leg. I mean, he had plenty of leg, so he had a puncher's chance of making this. He just pulled it left.
And Dallas is going to spend their final timeout with 21 seconds left. So they can't stop the clock. Roy Williams, if you think about it, if Jenkins doesn't make that play, they have a first down. The ball's inside the 15. They're leading by 4. They can eat the clock. Not all of it, but at worst they come away with 3 points. It's a 7-point game. Instead, Jenkins makes a defensive play, and Drew Brees and the receivers took care of the rest.
This was one of those games, Joe, that no matter who won, the other team was going to look at it and say, man, you know, we shot ourselves in the foot and we gave it away. You know, the turnover by Reggie Bush and the interception off of Jimmy Graham's hands by the Saints. The Cowboys will look at this one and feel they gave it away also.
Dallas Cowboys at 3-8. The Saints have won 4 straight. They are 8-3. And they'll be watching with the rest of us this weekend when Atlanta, leaders of the NFC South, will host Green Bay. We will hand out the Galloping Gobbler when we come back to Arlington. (30-27) is the final. Time to share the 7-word recap brought to you by Windows Live. Now we're going to summarize this game in 7 words. The 2010 Galloping Gobbler Award goes to... Down on the field, as we remind you, for whatever you're sharing, to the cloud with Windows Live to create and share anywhere. Here's Pam Oliver.
Man, oh man, the play to Meacham, I think, is the one everybody's going to be talking about. Walk us through that play and what you saw.
Well, it was 3rd and 10, and so obviously a longer down and distance, and we had kind of been seeing the same coverage, you know, over and over again, and kind of felt like that's what we were going to get again, and obviously felt like they'd be sitting around, you know, the markers and an opportunity for a big play, and Robert Meacham just screamed right by Newman on the right side, and obviously made a great play and put us down there in scoring range.
Let's get down to the business at hand. We have the Galloping Gobbler, and you won it. Mike Stevepack is bringing it in now, and there you go.
Great game.
Thank you. White gloves and everything.
Everything.
What do you think?
It's awesome. I'm just wondering how long it's going to take for my 2 sons to break this. But
A quick question from Troy and Joe upstairs.
Yeah, Drew, I was just going to say, first of all, thanks for looking kind of happy that you won that award. It's really not that pretty.
No, I love it. It's about...
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, it'll always make me think of this game and this moment, and obviously our team, and you know, just coming back from adversity today, it was a wild ride. I don't think we disappointed anybody at home.
Yeah, you pulled that one out. I wonder, as you look at this team offensively, you look like you're rolling again, and how you feel this group compares to where you were a year ago.
Well, we try not to compare ourselves with last year. I think that's probably one of the pitfalls of a team coming off the Super Bowl championship. It's a new year, it's a new team, and I feel like we've got the opportunity to be a better team this year in all 3 phases. And you know, we've gotten it going here the last 3-4 weeks, and this is when you want to be playing your best football in November and December, and it's time to make a run at it.
Hey, Drew, that Galloping Gobbler is not quite the Lombardi Trophy. Good luck on your pursuit of the next one.
Got some good weight. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe.
All right. Thank you, Drew. Congratulations. He wins it here in 2010. Drew Brees, who had his 21st career game-winning drive in the 4th quarter or overtime. That includes the postseason, and that game-winning drive. 5 plays, 89 yards, 1 minute, 8 seconds off the clock after the Roy Williams fumble. On November 27th, shop small and help your favorite business start booming on Small Business Saturday. Brought to you by American Express. Open. Learn more at facebook.com/smallbusinesssaturday. Troy and Pam and I were all headed over to Troy's. We're glad on Thanksgiving you joined us here at Fox. 30-27. Saints are on the roll. They've won 4 straight. Studio coming up after this.